Hey Solos, it's Samantha. Olaf may not know who Samantha is, but now you do. And welcome to Solo Magic, the podcast about the magic of going to Disney World solo. This is a really, really cool and special episode, and I am so excited that you all get to listen to how fun this conversation was. I got to talk to and interview Farrah Rochon. She is a Disney author. She's written 2 of the Twisted Tale books, and she's writing the upcoming origin story for the Hercules Muses. I mean, how awesome will that book be? I'm just so excited. We got to talk about all things Disney, and we got to talk about all things Disney while she was there. We got to talk about the way that solo travel is just so amazing, especially if the other option is going with people that don't really love it and appreciate it as much as you do. We really just got to lean into how wonderful it is to have the things that you like to do, to prioritize those things, and to make sure that other people don't ruin your vibe. You ruin your Disney vibes. We also touched upon some difficult reasons why people go to Disney World solo, some or even just adults go to Disney World solo. And I really love when we get to talk about those things, because I think it really helps everybody on their healing journeys when we talk about how Disney can be a form of therapy and a way to connect with yourself and all the different stories around you. And because Farrah is an actual author, to be able to talk about the stories all around you was just an excellent way to add to the Solo Magic podcast. And I'm so happy that she was available and willing to speak for this podcast, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World. Again, I don't know if there's any others, but that doesn't mean I'm not #1. So there you go. Now, the links to Farrah's books, as well as all of Farrah's social media stuff, is down in the link below, as well as my social media stuff. So I am Disney_solo_magic on Instagram. I'm Disney Solo Magic on Facebook. There's also a new blog, DisneySoloMagic.blogspot.com. There is actually a post up right now with 5 of Farrah's books, including the Twisted Tale books, and that you can go really easily to go from that page to Amazon and get your own copies. And I read one of the books, Almost There, which is the Tiana-inspired Twisted Tale, while I was staying at Port Orleans Riverside. And it was just really very magical to be able to read the Tiana story at Port Orleans. And as you are listening to this, I will have just come back from Disney World and hopefully been able to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So if you also want to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure in your brain through literature until you get a chance to get there, pick up Almost There, as well as, of course, Fate Be Changed, which is Merida's Twisted Tale as well. And the other book that just came out, which is Pardon My Frenchie, which is not a Disney book, but it is a new release for Farrah. So anyway, it was really cool that she was able to make time in her schedule to talk. I think I have covered everything. Let's go over to the interview. Farrah, I am so excited to have you. I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity on this podcast. Thank you so much for coming to speak to me on Solo Magic. Can you introduce yourself to everybody?
Well, first, thank you for calling me a celebrity.
Oh, no problem.
I am Farrah Rochon, extreme Disney fan, and also author of some of the Disney Twisted Tales.
Yes, and upcoming author of a upcoming Disney Twisted Tale.
Yes. Well, I've got the 2 Twisted Tales, but my upcoming book is actually not part of the Twisted Tales. It's a standalone called Bemused. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, I didn't realize that was a standalone. Oh, yeah, that's even more exciting.
Yeah, it's not a Twisted Tale. It's an origin story, basically, the origin of the Muses from Hercules. So it's a completely separate, standalone story. And it is probably the most fun I've had writing a book. So much fun.
I cannot wait to read it. The Muses are my favorite part of Hercules. Yeah. The songs are 2 minutes, but somehow they are constantly just I could just listen to those 3 songs all day. So that is some energy.
That was me writing the book, just playing Zero the hero. And, it's just snippets. But they're fabulous. And they have so much personality. And they were just so much fun. So much. Just think the muses as teenagers. That's all you have to think in your head. That's who
Oh,
I got to play around with. Yeah.
that is so exciting. So yes, definitely celebrity status. You get to deal with the five celebrities in the Disney universe that we all want to hear from. So wonderful. So tell me and everyone a little bit about like you and your Disney journey. Like how did all of this come to be?
Well, if we're talking Disney, just like my Disney fanaticism or the writing, which one? Because
I mean, what like brought you to Disney? Yeah, like it's like your
yeah.
fandom because I assume that they also wouldn't hire a writer that was like, sorry, Disney? Like what are you talking about?
Well, I will say I was a Disney fan way before I started writing for them.
Yeah.
I actually, as a little girl, we came to Disney, I would say maybe 3 or 4 times on like school trips, because I'm from Louisiana, it's not too far. And I can remember coming on a couple of school trips, and then my parents may have bought us. But it was when my niece was 5 years old and a cousin who her daughter was 7 and she wanted to bring her to Disney World, but she didn't want to go by herself. So she asked if we wanted to bring my niece. And it had probably been about 12 years or so since we had gone. So we thought, sure, this would be her first time. And I still remember it was the year where the castle was birthday cake, the
Oh,
25th.
okay, yeah. I've never heard of anyone that actually saw that in the in the
Oh
real.
yeah. Oh, we have the pictures. And my little niece at 5 years old. Yes, that was the year we went, and we started to go every year since. And now it's just blossomed into this, multiple times a year. Disney completely running every part of my life. I don't own I don't think I own like any t-shirts that are not Disney related. My car is full of Disney bumper stickers. It's ridiculous. It just went, from, oh, this will be a great thing for my niece to experience, to I am full on Disney adult, and it's just my personality at this point. Truly. Truly.
Yeah, I know. I have like a totally separate section in my closet now that are just Disney dresses. And every day I like look at them for work and I was like, can I push the boundaries of wearing this to a university? And I'm like, no, there are Encanto characters on it. You cannot wear this. Or like the Little Mermaid dress that I have from the live action Little Mermaid. And I was like, no, there's a giant bow on the front. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, but you would be talked about on campus,
I'm already pretty talked about.
Oh gosh, I hope
Already
you get to
pretty talked about. Yeah.
I hope you get to wear your dresses. Thankfully for me, my work is, just going to a coffee shop usually. So they already know I just have my parade of Disney t-shirts that I wear. It's just my life.
Well, but
It's
if you did show up in a giant dress with a big bow on the front, they would also talk about you.
probably, or they would just say, that's par for the course when it comes to Farrah. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me then about how like going to Disney solo. So you have these great memories with your nieces and your cousins and all
Yes,
these other people, but like you also go solo a lot. So can you talk a little bit
I
about that?
do. Well, this is going to get like a little sad for a minute, but not too long.
Okay, no problem.
So
I
my
find just really quickly before we talk about sad things, I find everyone's story, solo stories, start
Mhm.
with this, or there's like this edge of kind of sadness or some sort of like anxiety or kind of trauma around it, and then it like goes to this middle part of like real like beauty and fun, and that's been
Yeah,
really kind of lovely to hear these stories. So
yeah,
please start sad.
yeah, probably one of those. Well, my older sister was my Disney partner.
Hmm.
I travel a lot, like even outside of Disney, I do a lot, at least 2 international trips a year. I do a bunch of writing related things. But when it came to Disney, my older sister, we were the two who did Disney. We bought the DVC together. We would cruise together. And she passed away very suddenly the day after Christmas in 2019.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think about it now. I can like talk about it and not get choked up. And funny thing, if you can imagine a funny thing, one of the first things I said after I got the call from the police officers who called to tell me was, but we have 2 Disney cruises coming up because they were like 2 months away. And I really could not. Sometimes I still say, I cannot believe you left before those cruises because they were like our big cruises. We were going to turn platinum members and we booked concierge. They were like going to be the big cruises. And she goes and dies like a couple of months before.
Rude.
And
Rude.
so rude.
Did
So
you
rude.
go?
My mom actually made me go. She made me go on the first one because she died in December. And the first cruise was at the end of February.
Oh, you were so lucky. Your mom
Yeah.
was right because
She said, and the one thing, the concierge cruise, we would have lost a lot of money for canceling that quickly. So what I did instead, I took my brother and I took my sister's daughter, who
right.
was, she was in her 20s at the time. So we went on it together and we actually made, it was kind of a healing thing. We
Yeah.
sprinkled some of the flowers from her funeral in the ocean. Hope that wasn't littering, but it really helped us.
Biodegradable. It's cool.
Yes.
It's not like you were like, this is her favorite plastic water bottle.
Exactly.
Yeah, here's a straw she loved.
Rose petals. This was just rose petals. And we had her picture with us at dinner, and it really helped. But I also learned that she's hard to replace when it comes to a Disney person because no one else is as fanatical about Disney as she was. So while I tried to make other people in my family my new Disney people, it just was not working. And that's how I became a solo Disney traveler. I decided that, yeah, I'm not going to try to force others into this life. I will just do it by myself. And I always feel closest to my sister, even though I still live in her house because we lived together for 10 years before she passed away.
Oh gosh, that must have been so
we were
hard.
truly we were that close, just did everything together. But I feel even closer to her when I'm at Disney. It truly is some of our absolute best memories ever we had at Disney. So I know that I will always be just a Disney, I'll always be here because I will always need that connection to her. I don't know what the mouse can do to make me say, I'm never coming back there. There's just nothing. There's nothing because so much of it is just tied to feeling close to my sister. So yeah, I'm a solo traveler, I guess, but just having my sister's spirit with me. So it's like not always solo.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that so much because, when I've spoken to some people and there's a part too where when we talk about stuff that can get kind of deep, like all of a sudden seems like therapy. And it's like, well, actually, sometimes I feel like I'm like reparenting myself or whatever. And so I get to go with this imaginary parent, right? And so it's different with you because you know what your sister would say or do in these situations. But I love that idea of like going solo, but knowing that you have people and ideas and like love around you.
Yeah, it really is. And I have gone with others. I'll be coming back because my other niece turned 16 a couple of weeks ago. I'm still reeling from that because she was just born 2 days ago.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, if she was 16, that means she was born in 1989. Right? Yes.
Right?
Right. Yes. That's when 16-year-olds were born.
I know. Yeah. But she's also my niece and my nephew, my brother's kids. They're Disney kids too. We brought them, they've gone almost every year of their lives. And again, I'm thankful because even though they lost their aunt very early, they have so many memories of her because we could take them to Disney. So I'm taking her and her brother. They're coming to Disney for her birthday celebration next month. So I will have a couple of others here with me, but I actually prefer.
I was talking to a friend when she had a baby, and she's like, well, like Auntie Sam will come with us when she's old enough. And I was like, nope. And she's like, I was like, no, no, no. There's things that I do here, and you and your toddler are gonna ruin my
Yeah.
vibe. And she's like, well, you can go and then see us for a couple days after. And I was like, maybe.
That's the thing people don't get, once you've started going, you have like your certain things that you want to do. And especially, well, I'll be honest, when it's a new person, new to Disney, I actually do like to just introduce them to the magic.
Yes.
I like that, but like only once. I will introduce you once. After that, you're on your own. Do not ask to come on my trips again because I get that, every time a family member sees I'm going, oh, can I come? And I'm like, no, you can go to Disney any other time. They're open, every day of the year. You can go, but you do not have to follow me. So there, I do like to go sometimes with others, but no, I just prefer, like you said, I have my certain things that I just like to do, and I don't want to
Not do them.
not do them. Yeah. I don't
So
want to compromise my Disney time.
I totally agree. I also get from friends and family like that will criticize or like kind of side eye Disney with like one part, but be like, oh, but like,
Yeah.
no, no, no. Either you're all in or you're not.
Yeah.
So, what
Absolutely.
is something? This is kind of a two-part question. What is something that you do solo that you really enjoy doing? But also, I'm curious, like, what is something that you do solo that you wouldn't have done with your sister that you've kind of explored in the last few years?
Well, so one thing I have to do, my number one solo thing is to ride the people mover. I know it's weird,
Oh, no, people
but
like it. I don't, but you do.
no, I must, if I'm going to Magic Kingdom, even like I don't think we mentioned that I happen to be at Disney right now on
Oh,
a trip.
sorry. That's right. We were so excited to schedule this while you were there, and we haven't even talked about the fact that you are there. And
I am here on a solo trip. Yeah. But I was only at Magic Kingdom. I can only do a few hours. I did like maybe 2 hours at Magic Kingdom today. And first thing I did, people mover, because I knew I had to. I have to do it. I don't know why, but I just love it. There's just something about it that I just absolutely love. So that one remains just, yes, as a solo traveler, I have to. Something that I did not do with my sister, that I do now. So my sister was never one who liked to ride the big rides.
right.
She was very much a people watching. She loved to go see the shows, and she loved to just sit and people watch. I thought that was such a waste of time. I just thought, why are you spending all this money to just sit and do that? And I find myself people watching so much now. And
Yeah.
it's like, now I get it. Just seeing little kids, and families with little kids. I was just today, after I did my obligatory people mover, I got myself an ice cream, and I just sat and I just watched people enjoy themselves. And it's just been one of those things that's been like a flip for me. I am now just I just like to enjoy watching people enjoy Disney.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a special world, and especially when I see people wearing the like first time buttons, I want to be like, "How you doing? Like, you doing good? Because this is a lot, and like, you having a good time? Like, do you need to sit
Yeah.
down? You know?"
Yeah, I love the first timers. Yeah. And especially, so I love the first timers, but when it's a first timer and it's a whole family and they have little kids and you can just see their eyes are just,
Yeah.
they love it. Oh my gosh, it's like Be Still My Heart. I just love it.
I
There is
know.
something about it.
I was in line to get a picture with Belle when for Dapper Day, actually. That was a couple months ago, and there was a little girl, and she just was so excited to see Belle, and she was like bouncing and bouncing and bouncing, and she just kind of like stood in front of me, and her parents were so apologetic, and I was like, no, like she doesn't even know I am here. Like this is just so magical. Like this is what you
Yeah.
want. Like don't
Yes,
reprimand her. It's really beautiful.
I agree. I agree. It warms my heart every single time. So yeah, I've become just I guess a people watcher. I've become a people watcher. I still love the rides. I still go and I do my rides when I can, and more than just the people mover. But
You're like,
yeah,
but always the people mover too.
always the people mover. Some of the others, it's funny. It's like if the line is too long, it's like, oh, I'll get on the next trip.
Yeah, no, totally, totally, totally. So, because you are a part of the Disney universe as a Disney
Yeah.
author, do you come and do research here? Like, do you ever feel work when you are at Disney solo?
Well, at least twice a year, I will have two trips that are literally work trips.
Hmm.
And I will lock myself in a resort and I work all day. What I love about doing it at Disney is like you still get like that feeling of being immersed in the world.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I still have to work. So what I do, I always have a set goal of words to write. And if I meet my goal, my treat is to go into the parks later in the afternoon. So it's
right.
like motivation to get my work done. But yeah, I literally will do writing retreats at Disney. And I do, I did not bring my Merida book. I can't believe I didn't bring the copy of Fate Be Changed here because I also love to just take the book in the park and like take pictures. Last year I did Almost There with the Tiana Topiary at the Flower and Garden Festival. And, I went to Disneyland and Tiana's Place, the restaurant, it had not opened yet. It opened the week after I left, but it was set up. So I took the book and I was taking pictures all there. And so yeah, it's fun being a Disney writer and such a Disney fan and getting to actually work at Disney.
Yeah, well, I connected with you because I was reading Almost There at Port Orleans Riverside in the pool, and I was like, immersive. Look at what you've created, author. And I was like, I wonder if she wrote it here. But like with Fate Be Changed, you couldn't be as immersed because there aren't as many Merida things, right?
Yeah,
So, yeah, I can imagine that sometimes it feels like with a particular character you could really connect, and other ones you're like, oh, where are you?
yeah,
Someone
they
find a red
don't.
wig for me.
I have like complained because Merida used to take part in one of the parades. She rode a horse, but they don't have her in the parades anymore, and she doesn't have much merch. She's such a great character. But no, when it came to Merida, I just had to, I listened to Celtic music while I wrote. That's how I immersed myself in 10th century Scotland. I had printouts of the characters because I do like to have printouts all in my office. And yeah, I listened to instrumental Celtic music while I worked.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I'm reading a book right now. It's an academic book, but it has to do with ghosts. And I was like, I actually have a picture of the haunted mansion like that I'm looking at right now from my desk. And every time I go to Disney, I'm like, well, I have to go in the haunted mansion because I'm writing a book about ghosts and I might be inspired.
There you go. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love that.
So what is a tip that you would give to solo travelers? So, because you have not only done Disney solo, you travel internationally solo, you also solo cruise.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that before you give a tip.
Yeah, I do. I love, the only thing I don't like about solo cruising is that I have to pay basically the same amount as two
Yeah.
people in the room.
Yeah.
we were going as a family, and my family they had to change the date, but I told them I'm still going on my cruise. And it was only like $200 less after my niece was taken out of the room. And I just thought, oh my goodness. But I also just love having that stateroom to myself. So I'm willing to pay. Yeah. And the first time I did it was after COVID. I went on a cruise with my brother and my niece right before COVID shut everything down. But I was on when they started cruising again. I decided I would take my first cruise. And it was a little weird just because, I'm at a table by myself because there was the social distancing. They couldn't put us at tables with other people. And I just brought a book with me and I would read while I was eating. But one of the things I really like about solo cruising is meeting other people. I've met like table mates that I've become friends with because I was on the cruise with them. I just did a very long solo cruise from Honolulu to Sydney, Australia.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a 14-day cruise. And one of my table mates, I just, saw him on Instagram. It's like, oh yeah, that's where I met him,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's a great way to meet people, but it's also, I love just going back to my stateroom and being able to chill out and just decompress. I enjoy it. And I realized that it's become somewhat like coming to Disney. If I know I'm going to be with someone that I can vibe with, sure, I'll invite them along. But I would rather just go by myself and pay that extra money if it means enjoying the cruise more and not compromising just because I need someone else to fill the other space. Yeah.
Yeah, like if it elevates the vibes, great. But if it brings the vibes down.
Yeah, because more than anything, I want to enjoy. I just actually booked another one for my birthday next year. I'm doing the transatlantic because I've never done the transatlantic. So I'll be going to Barcelona next year solo.
That's awesome.
Life is
That's
short.
awesome.
So
I was standing in line for one of the friendship boats at Epcot, and there was a little girl, and I was talking to her, and she said, "Oh, I'm going on a Disney cruise next," and she had a cute little accent. I don't remember if she was English or if she was Australian, and I said, "Oh, you'll be able to swim in the ocean." She's like, "No, I can't swim in the ocean." I was like, "Well, I think there'll be a beach that you can swim at because I'm thinking about Castaway Key," and then her mom's like, "Well, no, we're doing a transatlantic," and I was like, "You're doing 2 weeks at the Grand Floridian and a transatlantic cruise? Can I be your 3-year-old?"
I was gonna say, okay, it's like that or college, or
Yeah,
that or new college.
that's right. That's right. I've already gone to college. I've done it many times, so you can just take me now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of money. But
Yeah.
again, life is short. If that's something you want to do, and yeah, and you're not mortgaging your house for it, I say go for it.
Well, I think that like your approach to this really brings up something important on like a meta level. Like there are some people that don't really know like what they really enjoy doing,
Yeah.
right? Like they don't know what brings like what good vibes are to them, right? Like they never really have that. And I think that's what's so great about solo travel. And once you kind of connect to that and like connect with yourself, then it's like, yeah, either we're elevating or we're not because I know what I'm doing here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You asked me about a tip. And I think my biggest tip before a person starts solo traveling is to take yourself out to dinner.
Ooh, good one.
Take yourself out to dinner and see how comfortable, because I don't think it's for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some
Yep.
people, they just wouldn't be comfortable doing it. I know some people who, they'll say, I don't know how you can do this by yourself. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm a riot. I love myself. I can entertain. But of course, being facetious.
I planned a 1 day trip where I flew from Toronto to Chicago for 1 day. I saw the Hamilton musical exhibition. I took myself out for high tea and I took a boat ride and I was like, I am amazing. I planned
Yes.
the best days.
Yeah. Okay. I'm so jealous of your high tea because I want to do that for my birthday this year.
Ooh,
But
high tea.
we'll
Oh
get
my
to it.
God. I'm
I
all
love
about high tea.
Yeah, I love a good high tea, and I haven't done one in a few years. And I told myself I would treat myself to one for my birthday. So it's in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks. Yeah, soon. I'm getting old, so I'm like forgetting when it's my birthday.
Well, I'm
So
monitoring your Instagram now, so I'm going to be expecting high tea.
high tea, yeah, I really should. I really should. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think taking yourself out to dinner gives you a sense of how comfortable you would be solo traveling. And I think that's a way to like wet your feet, just
Yeah, I think it's great. I also think that Disney is such a good place to try it out, like that next step, because it is so friendly. It's so safe. Like everyone I talk to who's a woman, like I don't even think about safety there. And that there are a ton of people who you can talk to. Like you might not want to take a solo trip to Greece, but going to Disney is a really good place to start, like trying out things that you like or what you find really interesting because you can't make a wrong choice at Disney, right?
yeah. And you're with mostly like-minded people. You
Right, right.
other people here, so yeah, you can strike up a conversation. I do it all the time. Strike up a conversation with people in line, and yeah, it is a good place to do solo traveling. And the funny thing, I mentioned my sister not she wasn't one that liked to ride the wild rides. So I think that we were such great Disney pals because we were doing our own things. Even when
Right.
there, we would just meet up. We would just meet up, we would have a dinner or something like that and meet up in the room. Or, I'll tell her, hey, I want to come and see Feel Her Magic. So let me know when you're going to see that and we'll meet up and do that. So I think that's why we just did it so well. We
Yeah.
got along so well because we were fine doing our own thing, and we knew not to force one to do something that the other didn't want to do. Um, so yeah, I think it's a good place for people to just wet their feet for
Yeah,
solo.
and then also to think about incorporating solo elements on trips with other people, right? Like I
Yeah,
will sometimes go with my mother who like she doesn't have the energy to do a whole day anyway, and she doesn't really want to see everything. And so whenever we go together, there's a lot like I do a lot of solo things, especially as an annual pass holder. I'll just be like, well, I'm not buying you park tickets today, so figure out what you want to do with the hotel.
yes,
Yeah. And it is nice to have a little bit of balance. And I think that going with friends and family to just say, like, you know what, let's see if I can find an hour in this whole trip just to be by myself and see what that feels like and what I actually want to do. And maybe that is just people watching with a Mickey bar because, like,
yeah,
that sounds amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I highly recommend it
Yeah.
for sure. But no, you're right.
Okay. One last question. What is your favorite park? And what would you recommend a solo travel do or see or eat at that park?
So my favorite park has become over the years Epcot,
Yeah.
because of all the festivals. I'm
Hmm.
just a fan. Before it would have been Hollywood Studios because I love Rocking Roller Coaster and I love like the rides there.
Right.
But then Epcot got Guardians of the Galaxy, which after the first time I rode it, I was like, oh, Rock and Roller Coaster, I've been loyal to you, but nope. I was absolutely just floored when I rode that ride for the first time. It's so gorgeous and just, yeah. So now Epcot has that. And then all of those festival booths, I love going around Epcot, and it's now become, because I'm a AP holder myself, still have to do the reservations. I'm still a little salty over that. But every day my reservations start, I will start out at Epcot. And I'll eventually go to some of the others, unless I have something special planned at one of the other parks. But yeah, I love going to Epcot. And my favorite thing, well, again, I love the festivals. So it's different things to eat at different times.
Have you had the lobster tail from the Flower and Garden Festival?
I had it today with that key lime butter. Oh my
It's I think it's the best thing at this whole festival this year.
yes. Oh my goodness, so good. And it's such a nice meaty lobster tail.
I know. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. This is filling. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good. And then the strawberry shortcake at that same booth. I had both of those today. So good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is probably, yeah, that's probably my favorite. But they also have this, it's a non-alcoholic drink, but it's a lavender or a violet lemonade.
Yeah.
That slushy, oh my goodness. I wish they would keep it. It's, I want them to keep that year round. It is so good. So those would be my favorites, like right now. Oh, and also the chicken and waffles they have at the
Oh,
honey.
it was so good. There were some different elements to it that I was like,
Yeah,
oh, look at you
yeah, it's
being
like a
fancy.
cornbread waffle, and you've got the honey on it. It is just such a, you know, for the price.
Yeah.
Of course, you do Disney math. You know, when you go,
Yeah.
you,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Don't worry.
it's
Don't
like
worry.
one little, it's like 3 bites. But hey, that was only $8. Those 3 bites, that's actually good Disney math. I am totally one for, convincing myself that spending all that money on those little plates is actually really cheap when I would go to a regular restaurant and, spend $30 for.
No, it totally is cheaper. It really is just $8 for the whole meal. As a Canadian, I have to do the exchange. So if it's eight
Oh,
dollars, it would be like $11 or $12 Canadian. And I was like, you know what? We just aren't going to look at the credit card bill at the end
yeah,
because it makes sense in American Mickey dollars.
exactly, exactly. And it's about the experience. I know all of the tricks of convincing myself that, okay, I usually just put like $250 on a gift card, and that's like the go have fun. And it used to be my limit. That's why I would limit myself. But then I decided, why limit yourself?
Yeah,
So I start with,
I was just going to say that. But then you're like, wait, I am limiting myself.
yeah, it's like I work hard. Why are you limiting yourself? So yeah, no, now it's just go have fun.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
Well, this has been such an amazing conversation. I don't want to keep you any longer because I know you have to write and then you're going to go have fun. And I do not
Yes,
want to prevent any of that fun to happen.
yes, I'm thinking Disney Springs tonight. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, what a wonderful place. Like I love being able to stay at the resorts where you can take the boat because I'll be like, I'm just gonna boat on over there. Just
Yeah,
go get a sandwich, get a drink, buy some stuff that I don't need, take the
yeah,
boat back. What
that's what I'm
literally what's better
gonna do.
than that?
That's what I'm going to do. I'm at one of the resorts right now where I can take a boat. It's that one, or my other favorite is Saratoga Springs, where I can literally walk to Disney Springs. We usually, when I'm doing a writing retreat, that's the one I go to because, yeah, it's like, let me walk and get lunch from Disney Springs and come back and work. I love it. I love
Yeah, that's so great. I know I
it.
find that when you're writing and you don't have like close food options, it's very hard to do that first initial bout of writing because you're like, but where am I going to
Yeah,
get lunch?
yeah. So it's perfect to be here and do it. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do tonight.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I will make sure that everyone has links to all of the books and everything. How can people get in touch with you or like to follow your adventures, not to necessarily stalk your trips like apparently I've done?
Well, Instagram is definitely the best for stalking any of my trips because whether it's Disney or you mentioned Greece, I just came from there a few
Yeah.
weeks ago or last week, I can't even remember. I usually post to Instagram just because it's like my personal catalog that I go back to. I like going back through my Instagram to see where did I go this year. So everyone else gets to come with me so that I can, go back and explore all the places I went. So yeah, follow me on Instagram. I'm everywhere, really. The Twitter, I still call it Twitter. I don't care what the owner calls it. I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, I'm everywhere. So people can just find me at Farrah Rochon. And of course, at my website where I have links to everywhere that I am, farrahrochon.com.
And there's also links in the description of this podcast episode wherever you're listening. So that's so easy for you to be able to go and follow her. Well, thank you so much. This has been so wonderful. I hope we'll get a chance to meet again. I don't want to crash your vibes, obviously, but I'll just hang around the People Mover next time I'm there. Maybe I'll see you.
Yes, that would be wonderful. We could ride it together. I can show you what is wonderful about the People
Yes.
Mover.
And then you're like, okay, now get off and I'm going to ride it properly by myself.
Yeah.
Because if anything about this conversation shows, that is actually what you want to do. We'll do a mini podcast episode on the People Mover. And now you're like, bye.
Oh, that would be so wonderful. That truly would be like a 6-minute, mini People Mover podcast. Okay, it's a date.
I did some voice memos when I was in the parks the last time I was there, and I was like, I don't even know if any of this audio is going to turn out. And then I listened to it after. I was like, this was so fun. I should have done this every day. So
see, yeah, totally. It's the perfect place. It truly is.
Yeah, it really is. All right. Well, have a wonderful evening. I hope you meet your writing goal, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Yeah, it was so fun. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Solos. It's Samantha. I hope you like this episode and all the episodes of Solo Magic, the podcast about the magic of going to Disney World solo. Just a reminder that you can listen on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube. No matter where you're listening, please make sure you subscribe and rate and share with others. You can also connect with me on Instagram, Disney_solo_magic, as well as Facebook, Disney Solo Magic. And we have a new blog, DisneySoloMagic.blogspot.com, that will complement the information that we talk about on the podcast, as well as be able to highlight some different tips and tricks and information that will make your solo trip the most magical ever. Until next week, bye.